Hi, welcome to another exciting episode of the Andre The Beast Crayton Show. Another exciting show. Definitely another exciting guest. Now, I know you know the lady sitting next to me. She's been viral for quite some time. She decided to basically come to Indianapolis and basically say, you know what? I'm going to put the cards on the table. I'm not going to let somebody tell my story. I'm going to put that beast frame of mind together. I'm going to put it out there. This is how it is. I can care less at this point. I'm moving on with my life. The one, the only Miss Jennifer
Rosiska.
Rosiska, what's up?
Not much. I'm having a great weekend with you.
You did a very motivational podcast, and you've been helping me co-host to feel comfortable. And I think every episode you've been on with me has been an inspiration for you too.
Absolutely. I know there's a reason I was here this weekend. Yeah, definitely the reason why I'm sitting in this seat. So it's been pretty powerful.
What without getting too deep, what has been the most motivating part of your story and you coming here to share it with the millions of viewers?
Well, it's validating that, so many of us go through tough times, and some really tough times. And I think, when I first initially started with mine, I realized, I got to count my blessings, right? There are still some blessings during those tough times, but recognizing just the resiliency that exists in people and their different approaches to getting through that trauma and coming out onto the other side stronger and better. It's just been so inspirational.
I saw you turn up on the last show with the guys.
I was,
Yeah, I was like, okay, here's some tissues.
Yeah, you've got some great guests, great programs, and just a lot of inspiration coming
Thank you.
to the way that the public. And I'm just so I was emotionally moved. I've been inspired, and I'm excited for what's ahead with what you've got going on here.
Okay, now let's talk about this beautiful young lady with that smile. She's been smiling for a while. And there's a reason that she's smiling. Because when you're suffering from trauma, post-traumatic stress disorder, homelessness, and let me use this word, which a lot of people don't realize. This is what happens to a lot of people. It's not necessarily hopelessness, it's limitationless. When limitations become a handicap for you, a lot of times hopelessness is the next feeling to pop up in your life.
For sure.
This young lady has met the faces of all these demons right here. And she's going to tell us how she basically said, no more. I'm going to put my beast mindset together, and I'm going to go make a difference. So let's welcome to the show, the one, the only Miss Tiffany Strickland. What's up, Tiffany?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. Sounds like you're from South Carolina Gamecocks.
I am South Carolina Gamecocks all the way, 100%.
I'll try not to hold that against you over here as a Clemson Tigers fan, especially since we've got that matchup coming next Saturday.
So
That to be a house divided.
Yeah.
That's right.
let's get right down to it. Tell the viewers a little bit about you before we get into how you overcome all of these things to be where you at today. Who is Tiffany Strickland?
Yeah, so I'm 44 years old. Back in my late 30s, so when I was about 37 years old, I was in a marriage. I'd been there for about almost 5 years. Extreme narcissist, extremely abusive. He raked me through the coals. So by the time he was done with me, I was not homeless once, but twice. And the second time was going to prove to be catastrophic. But he cleaned me out financially. Even though I had 2 young kids, he didn't care, I guess. And I had very low self-esteem at the time. So it was awful. It was a recipe for disaster. But I ended up losing everything.
Hold on a minute, Tiff. Let's go back a little bit. This is a two-part question. We hear this word all the time, narcissist. How did you know he was a narcissist? Like, what signs were he demonstrating? And were you so far low in self-esteem that even though you saw the signs, you try to change this person? Like, let's go a little bit deeper than this.
Yeah, so I was too deep in it. I couldn't see it. Everybody else could.
Like, what was some of the things
he kept telling me? And I just kept going. I wanted to be a good wife. I thought I could change him.
when you said everybody else seen it, because later your friends always tell you, what was it that they seen that you didn't see?
My family, they could see that he was using me. I had a good job when he met me. I was doing okay in life. You know, I had a nice house. I had a nice car. I had a good job. My kids were taken care of. And I had nice things. And he came into my life and I was lonely. I had just come out of a 5-year relationship with a guy I thought I was going to marry. And he ended up cheating on me with a friend. So he hit me. And my grandmother, who raised me, died about 5 months before that. So those two things happened right before he came into the picture. So I was at an extremely, extremely low point in my life, mentally.
Because you mentioned children, and you don't have to be afraid to give me more information. I mean, it's fine. This is a safe zone. Women need to know. People need to know. Like, other people seen it. You had children. I'm trying to understand how you allowed this to make you homeless if you already got everything in place. What was? Yeah. How did he take from you? You had to give in order for him to take.
It happened in series. So he would go out and he would go into stores and he would steal stuff, and then he would go to jail, and then I had to pay for a lawyer to get him out, and I had to pay for the bonds. Now I would bring him home, and then he would go clean out the bank account, and then I would forgive that. And then it would just, that was a repeating cycle. And it was very, very extremely embarrassing. And it was degrading, but he would just keep going out. And then I opened the bathroom door one night and he was in there doing drugs. So that was the pivot point when I was like, okay, this is not okay anymore. Like, this is the driving force behind it. And he would go into these stores and he would steal stuff. He went to work for an employer. They were doing construction, and he went back in the middle of the night and stole all of his stuff. So he would just go missing for days, and then he would come home. This was in the first year.
How did you meet him?
Well, we actually went to high school together and reconnected over Facebook.
Lord have mercy. Isn't that usually how you met in high school?
Yes.
Yeah. So I knew him from high school.
So he was a kleptomaniac?
Yes.
But I'm trying to. So what made you analyze that he's narcissistic? That he's a narcissist versus him being a kleptomaniac?
Because of the head games, the emotional games he would play with me, and then he was isolating me a little bit at a time from my family. Oh, don't listen to your aunt, she's just doing this. Or, oh, don't listen to your sister, she's just doing this. And so he was isolating myself. So I was starting to cut people off one by one because it was in my ear all the time. Very emotional, abusive. Now, at the time, I didn't know what the word narcissist was. I didn't learn this till later when I went to school for coaching.
I think that's the new word.
Well, it is. It's the only one that's popped up over the last couple of days.
Every time somebody comes on the show, I just wait on the word to pop up. Oh, he or she was a narcissist. He was seeing, believe me, that word went viral. I don't think it just was started in college. Everybody, well, what you're showing some narcissistic tendencies.
Yeah, I know. I think the word of last year was demure. I think this year it's narcissist.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I do. Yes. Yeah, I wanted to ask. So you said this was like a cycle.
Yes.
So what is it? Why, if you saw, obviously hindsight's 2020, but so as this didn't happen just once, then it happened again and again. Mm-hmm. So what was going on inside of you that how was it that you were able to justify?
So I had this belief in my mind that I was 32 years old when we got married and met, but I had 2 kids. And growing up, my grandparents always told me, you grow up, you go to school, you go to college, you get married, you have kids, and you stay that way forever. Well, I already felt like a lowlife because here I am with 2 kids by 2 different fathers and never been married. And here I am 32 and I'm also a high school dropout. So I didn't live up to any of those beliefs that was instilled in me growing up. And I finally had gotten married. My aunt told me, she said, you waited years to get married and you ended up with a dud.
So it sounds like you were so low in your own place. And so
Yes.
It didn't matter what you were almost blind to just his actions and the kinds of things that he was doing, because you just felt like I need somebody in my life. Like, and at least I can find somebody is better than nobody, because being alone and with my history, regardless of what he's doing, I'm better off with him than without him.
Mm-hmm. And somewhere deep down, I honestly thought I could change him.
Isn't it how it always is? So let's go a little bit deeper. Let's go to the fact that you lost your house. There was no indications that you was about ready to lose your house. Did you lose your job, or how did all that happen? Your first time being homeless, not your house, but just being homeless the first time. What was those scenarios? Him going in and out of jail, or you just not being able to manage money? Did you lose money? So how did you become homeless? You don't have no money?
He was like a vacuum. He just sucked money right out of me. And he went back to jail, and there I was paying all these lawyer fees and coming up with canteen money and having to pay all that. Well, it was so disruptive in my home that my emotional state was getting worse. I ended up losing my good paying job. So,
and what was your parents saying? What was your parents and your family saying about, you got children?
Mm-hmm. They were saying, he's using you. You need to get him out. He's using you.
When was the final? Okay, so you took him back again, and and the same guy, you take him back, and you're homeless again.
Yes.
Where's child services? Where's child services?
Child services. Well, child services never got involved. So it was more just an emotional roller coaster and a financial whirlwind.
Where did you go?
Doing all this stuff all the time.
What was it like for you being homeless? You got kids now. Where did you go? What did you do?
So the first time, my daughter went and stayed with her boyfriend at the time in high school. His parents let her stay there. And then me and my son stayed with a friend of mine at her house. And that was only for a couple of months until I got my tax money and I got back on my feet.
And
then I got us another house. And then he was in jail for like a good year after that.
So you bonded him. He gets out on parole, I take it. And you take him into your house.
Yep. A year later, yeah. He talked me into, I'll do good this time. It was like that every time. I promise it won't happen again. I'm going to do good this time. I love you. It's not going to happen. I mean, every single time, that was how he got his foot back in the door. It's not going to happen again.
And even during that year while he was in incarceration, that relationship then between you, it remained strong.
Yeah, well, I still talk to him on the phone.
Okay.
Off and on. So as long as he could get me on the phone, he was always in my ear.
And then in your head.
Yep. Yeah.
So now he comes home, paroles to you. How long did it take you to become homeless again?
So I bonded him out in February of 2017. And he went back to jail in August of 2017. And by that point, I was in such another financial disarray that I was homeless come December. So my daughter had moved out and gotten her own place. They had like a roommate style thing where it was her and 4 other girls, and she paid rent. And my son went to go stay with his father during that time so I could get back on my feet. But it would prove to be awful.
Is this where the post-traumatic stress disorder showed his face?
Yeah.
How did you get diagnosed with that?
I was homeless for 18 months. Like, I lived in my car for the first 6 months trying to get a job, but I was so distraught because my son had to go live with his father that he couldn't stay with. It was almost like I was grieving the deaths of my children because I couldn't take care of them. And I was living in my car. And then I was just like in a mental, it was awful. It was awful. And then the people that I was staying with at the time, they didn't help at all.
It
was street people. So that was how I ended up. It was another set of like people I knew from high school that I had hooked up with through Facebook.
Why didn't your child's father take you in?
You'll have to ask him that, because I ask.
You literally asked to stay with him. He knew you was in that situation, and he would not. And you got a kid together, a son, and he would not take you in, knowing that you living on your
aunts
car.
Wouldn't either. I thought that I was going to be staying with my aunts too, and they both told me no.
Did they give you
I
reasons?
have burned so many bridges with him in my ear.
Oh, tough love now.
Now it's tough love. Yeah. And that was what I was told too in the end, coming out of it. You needed to learn.
How did you stay strong? Because now you getting post stress. What I call it? Post traumatic stress disorder.
Yep.
Yeah. How are you keeping everything together, knowing that your kids? Well, your one daughter, she's okay, but your son is much younger, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were 17 and 11 when that happened.
How do you keep it together?
I didn't. I lost it. I actually lost the will to live. I wanted to lay down and die every day for about 6 months. And it was affecting everything. I couldn't get on my feet. It was affecting everything that I did.
Why was it so hard for you to find a job? Did you live in a small town? What's it like? Or did everybody know you was dealing with a loser?
No, I would put in job applications, but I didn't have an address for one. I was living in my car. And then I never did get any phone call back. So I did end up doing housekeeping for about 6 months at a motel, and I stayed at that motel too. I was living there right there towards the end of coming out of being homeless.
What changed everything for you?
So, I had some really bad things happen to me on the streets by these people. I didn't, there's a code on the streets. I didn't know the code on the streets. I'd never lived on the streets. But there's a code people live by on the streets, and, I didn't know any of that kind of stuff going into it. And
wait a minute, what is the code?
I know, I want to know.
What is the code on the street?
So the guy that I was with, I ran up with another guy. So I was with somebody on the streets too when I was homeless.
You had a boyfriend? A homeless boyfriend?
Yeah, he was a boyfriend, yeah, and he turned out to be a complete sociopath. Well, he beat me in the hotel room one night, and I called the police and had him put in jail. Well, then they all wanted to kill me. So they were threatening to kill me.
So that's the code.
That's the code. You don't do stuff like that.
So the code is a homeless guy. You're both in the same situation.
Yes.
How did you get money to get a hotel room?
I was working there. I got a job there.
Okay. And did you know he was homeless?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We had went into it together.
Okay, now
we were already together.
Okay.
This was about 6-8 months into being homeless.
So you met him, and then you get on your feet working, you take him with you.
Yes.
Okay, now it's making sense. So you're in the hotel room. Yeah, okay. I'm like, okay. So now he beats you up. But why is that a code?
That's just that's what they were telling me. You don't do stuff like that. That'll get you killed around here. And
is that the calling of the police as the code? So calling the police to him was the violation of the code.
I called the police because I wanted him gone. I didn't want him around me. I wanted him gone. Like I needed to get rid of him, and he just wouldn't go.
So what was
how do I keep ending up with these men?
What was the aftermath of that then, of breaking the code, of violating that code?
So they lured me into a car and drove me up into the back in the woods to an abandoned trailer. And these people, they were going to stab me to death and throw me down a 400-foot well.
You're kidding.
How did you get out of that?
I had a phone with no service and called 911 and called an ambulance and ran up to the top of the street.
They told you that's what they were going to do to you?
No, I figured it out. I heard them talking about it around the corner. They had me out there in the middle of nowhere, and I kept asking to go back, that I need to go back to the bus stop, and they wouldn't take me anywhere. And so I knew something was wrong.
So why did you get in the car? Why did you get in the car with them again?
Well, she was, because I thought it was my friend.
You know, this sounds crazy.
Yes. I'm writing a book on it. Yes.
Why would you still hang around?
It was like she befriended me to lure me.
Okay.
Because she knew that because of what you had done, because you had called the cops, gotten them in trouble. So there was then a plan then in place to retaliate against you for your actions.
Yes.
So you got away from that incident. Mm-hmm. Were there others that followed, other attempts?
I disappeared. They asked me which hospital did I want to go to, and I went to the next town over. And from there, I disappeared. I called a woman's shelter in the county, that's Spartanburg County, 45 minutes up from here. And they had like a van that they would take you back and forth to work, and then you paid every week out of your paycheck from there. So I went there. Like I got completely out of Greenville.
Okay.
I left. I just disappeared.
You now
It scared me so bad I didn't want to run back into them. I mean, it was awful. That's where PTSD come in.
That's what I was gonna. Yeah.
Did he bond out of jail or something? How did he get word to people if he didn't have no money or resources?
That I will never know the answer to.
Where's he at now?
I don't know.
Are you afraid?
Yes.
Do you mean the code to the streets of the homeless? The code to the street of homeless is that deep that people need to fear?
Yeah.
Is that statewide as far as you know?
With these people, it was. I don't know. Now, remember, I had never, that's the first time I had ever been in a situation like that. So, I mean, at least with these people, that's how deep it was.
What about your family? After you got yourself in order with your kids and so forth, how did that change the trajectory of your family now?
So when I was living in the women's halfway house, going back and forth to work, I finally reached out to my daughter, and she reached back. So we sat down. We went to a Waffle House one morning and sat down, and we were like, well, we've got to fix this. We've got to mend this, and we've got to move forward. So we did that. And then like a couple months later, she enlisted in the Army, and we got an apartment together right before she went off to basic training. And just from there, I just started working on myself. I couldn't get any lower. I had already been at the lowest point possible. So I had nowhere to go but up. And I got deep into spirituality. I got deep into the Bible. Cause I was hallucinating. I was scared to go out to Walmart. I was scared they were behind me in the car. I would freak out and just start shaking. I was scared to walk the dog out in the parking lot. I was scared they was out there, and I would just shake. I mean, it was crippling almost. And I just couldn't believe it, you know?
What was the mental state of your children as you going through this?
Well, I sat down. Well, I told my daughter what had happened. So, but my daughter is a very resilient person. She hated to see me going through it, but they weren't there. So my children, they wasn't on the streets with me. My daughter was living in her own place because she was 17. And then my son was living with his father.
I still can't get over the fact that, I mean, I know exes don't always get along, but you would think that if you came to me and you don't have a place to live, I can drop the anger and say, okay, come and sleep on the couch or something, but to just turn their back on you all the way, that's sad. Now that you're on your feet, do you and him have a relationship? Has he ever stepped back and said, you know what, I should have been there for you, even no matter what we might have gone through? You're the mother of my child. I should have been a little bit more compassionate.
No, he's never said that, but he did tell me that he's proud of how I turned out, that I have good character.
I would hate to ask what he said before that. But you're smiling, so I mean, that must be pretty good. Were you ever worried about child services and coming in, intervening with your decisions?
No. No, it was just chaotic. It was just a lot of emotional bullshit going on with, the stuff that he was doing. It was just causing chaos in the house with me, because he would leave and he would disappear, and then he would call from jail, and then he would be gone for 3 days, and I have to go bail him out, and it was just erratic.
What steps did you take to change the whole trajectory? How long did that take? And more importantly, you must have really dig deep, because your coach, Tiffany Strickland, CHC, that just didn't come overnight. So how long did this process take?
For me to transform my life?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It took a lot of deep inner work, but it took me about 12 months to completely change my mindset. I went to school for health coaching. An ad kept coming across my phone. I was like, well, let's check that out. So I was working third shift at Waffle House as a waitress. And I thought, well, I can swing it. It was like $300 a month or something for like 12 or 13 months. So I went, and then I started learning all these things like high vibrational eating, your mental state, limiting beliefs, how your brain works, how your body works, energy. I had never heard these words before. And I thought, wow, that's interesting. So I started trying some different things that I was learning in school for that. And then I started picking up books, like on subconscious reprogramming, neural rewiring. Then I started looking into meditation. Like I started going down a really deep rabbit hole. And then I figured out, I was like, well, this neural rewiring sounds really cool. It's like I can rewire my brain for positivity and abundance. Well, let's try that. I don't have nothing to lose from it. And sure enough, every negative thought that I had, I started replacing it with its positive opposite. And within about 6 months, I noticed that I was sitting on the couch one day and I was like, wow, I have not had one negative thought. Not one. My mind was at complete peace with itself. And so I just kept it up, and my life was transforming. Like all these opportunities was coming to me. All these great people were coming into my life, and it hasn't stopped, actually. So I had to get rid of the subconscious programming. And one of the best things that I did to change my self-concept, to my self-esteem, is that I got up every morning for 6 months and I said, I love myself. And I said it all day, every day, until my subconscious accepted that. It's life-changing.
It is. The mind is so powerful. I mean, so very powerful. And, it's amazing how you were, like you're talking about, like that rewiring, and then the magnetism that stems from that by doing that and rewiring it in a positive way, and then just how everything is just drawn to you. Good things are just drawn to you. What about your family gave you that tough love?
Oh, they can't believe it. Like we just had Thanksgiving dinner today, and they're like, gosh, who would have thought, that you would run your own coaching business and be pulling other people up out of the dark. And it's just, you're not even the same person. I'm not the same person.
What is it like to hear? What is it like to hear that from them?
It's heartwarming for sure. Because I didn't have to be in the situation I was put in if somebody would have helped me.
How does that make you feel with those
I was mad
words?
for a very long time.
Yeah. How does that make you feel, knowing that there was people capable of helping you, but on the other hand, you were still making the same unconscious mistakes?
Yes.
So I can get both sides of the table. Are you mad at them because they gave you tough love?
Not anymore. I held a lot of heartache, animosity, and I was very mad for a couple of years. And finally I was like, I've got to let this go. Like, it happened, it's over, you know, we're not there anymore. Let's move forward. And I let it go. I sat down and I wrote everybody a letter on, I'm pissed off that you did this to me, this to me, and this to me, but I learned this lesson, this lesson, this lesson, and this lesson. And I do love you. I thank you. And I forgive you. And I mailed it to every one of them. I mailed it to about 12 people. And that was a huge release.
Who was when you sent it to 12 people, who was the most impactful that you thought would be there no matter what? I know it would probably be all 12, but there's your sister. Why you say that?
Yeah, my half sister. I would have thought that she would have stepped up and helped me when all that stuff was going on, but she was so embedded in her own stuff. She just was on. I thought it felt like she didn't even care. Like she knew what was happening.
Was that act then part of that rewiring process that you had to go through? Writing those letters, was that part
Yes, it was. Yeah.
To dismiss those feelings of abandonment when you needed it most. So that was part of that rewiring process.
Yeah, you can't carry all the energy in from the trauma. You can't have an identity shift if you're trying to carry traumatic energy in with you, because you won't be able to move because you keep thinking about it. You have to let it go. Like, forgiveness is actually a selfish thing. It's for you to be able to move on.
Explain that a little bit.
What that forgiveness
is selfish. Yes.
Selfish. Yes. Yeah. So it's for you. A lot of people are like, oh, I'm not going to forgive them for what they did to me. And then they just hang on to it for years and years and years. But if you think about it, you're still giving your power away to that person. Mm-hmm. They're still holding you hostage because you think about it and you're still upset about it. They're still taking your energy. But if you forgive them and let it go, and the best way to do that is to write the letter. It really is, because as soon as you drop it in the mailbox, you're just like a sigh of relief.
Or you
can burn it. You don't have to mail it if you don't want to.
At least you have an option.
You do.
It's an emotional release, yes.
I think that's also good to know, because what about something that you're carrying for that person who's no longer around to receive that letter? So the fact that, that is an interesting alternative.
I think you like the fact of burning. You're starting to have flashbacks of your own stories. So you want to write a letter and then say you're going to burn it.
There's a list running through my head right now of some letters I need to write.
You're now a coach. What are some of the things that you see in your clients that you saw in yourself? The mistakes and so forth.
The struggle. So I work with purpose-driven adults that are trying to achieve big goals, and they have subconscious blocks, or it's a block from something traumatic that happened. People, you don't realize sometimes how deep the beliefs go. When you look at your identity, you develop your identity in the first 7 years of your life. So you're given an identity before you're even old enough to choose one. That's why we turn out like our parents, because we soak everything in that they do.
Go deeper with that. Talk to it like talking to Andre as a dummy, like that book, Andre for Dummies. Yeah, like I put myself on it because I don't want to call nobody a dummy, but talk to me like Andre for Dummy. What do you mean when you say that? The identity at 7.
The identity what?
The identity that we start to shape it at 7, and we adapt that identity moving forward. Explain that.
So when we're little, so from the time that you're born till you're about 7 or 8 years old, our brains are in a constant theta state. That's like a meditative state. And we soak in everything that's going around us, that we're learning how to survive, right? We pick up everything from our parents, everything. Doesn't matter. And whoever's raised you or whoever's around often, And that's why you'll see people turn out just like their parents, even if they say that I'm never going to turn out like that. And then years later, they always end up because it's instilled in you. It's a belief system. So it's locked into your subconscious. This is how we survive. So you're given an identity before you're old enough to choose one.
How do you break it? And how do you recognize the identity has gone wrong?
Yeah, well, you have to recognize your subconscious beliefs. They're pretty easy to pick up. It's when you're saying, I can't, I won't, this won't happen for me. That's a instant block.
Self-doubt and self-limitations.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You have to, and the way you get rid of it is you rewire yourself. You have to build, you've been thinking the same negative thoughts for so long, you've got a superhighway running in your head. 95% of the thoughts that you think today are the exact same thoughts you thought yesterday, and you thought the day before, and probably even 2 or 3 months ago. So you have to rewire that. And we're just like, our environment, everything you see on TV is negative. A lot of the music these days is negative, and you're constantly soaking that in. So you get beliefs built from that too. And then anything traumatic that has happened to you over the course of your life, as soon as something traumatic happens, your brain has a chemical reaction and it immediately impresses it into your subconscious. And then you remember that, and then you usually build beliefs around that as well. But you have to recognize it, bring awareness to it. When you have the negative thought, immediately replace it with its positive opposite. And you do that every day, all day, and you do it for months, at least 90 days till it becomes automatic, because you're building new neural pathways in your mind. You can't just delete negative thoughts or beliefs, but you can make them fade into the background till they're no longer. So
you're driving the car on the superhighway, but you're leaving the shit in the rearview mirror.
That's right. And it's life-changing.
Who taught you that? Who brought this inspiration to you that led you down that path?
It's coaching school. When I went to school for health coaching, I was like, wow, there's actually another way to live. I had never heard of holistic practices and holistic healing and all this other stuff. I'd never heard of that stuff before I went to school for it.
What did you discover about your identity then as a 7, like by the age 7? So looking back, like what did you discover then about yourself that was formed by that age?
So I had a lot of my grandmother raised me. She adopted me at 6 months old. Like a lot of her stuff, like worrying all the time about nothing or things that are completely out of my control. I'm still trying to get a grip on that. I worry about my kids and where they're at and what they're doing. But worrying all the time, like I picked that up. Being like over controlling with my children, I picked that up.
What's been the easiest thing for you to change now about the whole concept of genetic rewiring your think process? What has been the most inspirational part of this for you?
In my own life?
Yeah, your life.
Just seeing where I'm at today. If you would have seen me 10 years ago and you would have told me I would be doing this, I would have laughed really hard, because I was at a place of low. I was very low, and I have never thought very much of myself. I've always had low self-esteem, and that, stems back to my abandonment issues with my parents. Mm-hmm. But just looking where I'm at, if you'd have told me I'd have my own coaching business and I would be helping people to overcome their lack, limitations, and scarcity mindset so that they can go do great things in the world. I mean, it's just beautiful. It makes me cry sometimes when I think about it. And this work it's beautiful. It's gratifying.
We're getting that noise
in the dark for others.
Yeah, we're getting that noise again. Okay, now it's gone. Okay. There we go. Is that a spiritual noise that's going in the background? Is that a vibrational frequency we're hearing in the background? It's coming in when it wants to. You know what? Your story is really cool. I like it. There's some struggle here. There's some mistakes, but I noticed throughout the whole show you have not stopped smiling.
Yeah.
You're full of joy. And how does that make you feel right now, knowing that Were you smiling this much when you was going through this stuff with the kleptomaniac narcissistic guy?
No, I was crying all the time. No, it's such a, when you rewire your neural pathways for positivity, success, and abundance, and you instill new beliefs into your subconscious, my world is magical all the time. I meet awesome people all the time. Good things happen to me all the time. And that's because I believe that good things are going to happen to me and I expect it. It's magical without the shrooms.
It's funny because we talk about that quite often on this platform, that if you believe it and you keep saying to yourself, these things will happen to you. I think limited beliefs keep people prisoned.
Yes.
And I think another reason that this happens is because I tell people that's beautifully, it sounds beautiful to people, but it's true. But this is what I tell people too. You got to, the human factor is still there. And the human factor, this is my theory. The human factor runs like this. We're all designed to have unlimited beliefs system to get whatever we want. Mm-hmm. But we want it right then. It's show me.
Yeah.
But you're a prime example of show me.
Doing that.
Yeah, you're the prime example of show me in living color. You know what I mean? You went from the bottom to the top, changed, and was put in those directions to be where you're at today. Now, before I wrap up, my question here is, I also believe, this is just what I believe. I think probably the biggest obstacle here to get to where you're at was the word that people hate to hear. Forgiveness. Even though that shit happened, you have to forgive and let that shit go to the wayside. What's your take on that, Tiffany? Coach Tiffany. Let me give you your dues. Coach Tiffany. Yeah. Yeah, you earned that. You know, I'm sorry. I should have respect that title that's in front. Coach Tiffany. Okay, what's your take on that, Coach?
Do it. It's a selfish thing to do, to forgive somebody. But if you're ready to let go and you're ready to not worry about it anymore, do it. Just write a letter. Let it go. You did this, you did that to me, but I learned this, I learned that, I learned this from you and from the experience. And then just, fold it up, mail it, or just burn it.
Or walk across the street.
It's an emotional release.
Wait a minute, or walk across the street to the mailbox.
Oh, I know where you're going with that.
Yeah, isn't it funny? She's been on here talking about her journey, and it's funny. So now this guy that you was having the difficult time with, that put you in this, we put ourselves in that situation. Now all you gotta do is just go take Coach Tiffany's advice and just say, instead of being mad about it, here's a letter. Oh, I sent it. Oh, I burnt it too.
Yes, yeah. He's referencing my 23-year marriage that is ended, but my ex-husband is with my next door neighbor. So he's referencing writing the letter and just having to walk next door.
Hey, I'm just going by Coach Tiffany's advice. He said, put the letter in the box or you can burn it. At least it,
Yeah, you can burn it.
So Tiffany, how has your life been now? You're a coach. You've been blessed with abundance. You keep getting abundance. You're living proof that genetic rewiring, teaching ourselves how to rewire the highway of our mind, can easily. I'm not going to say it's an easy trip because it wasn't easy. You had the obstacles you had to go over. But I think what made you successful at becoming Coach Tiffany Strickland is consistency. And I tell people, in order to do anything, my biggest thing is you have to be consistent. When people ask me, why do I keep doing what I do? I say, I don't do what I do. I keep being consistent at it. Consistency.
Consistency and repetition.
Thank you.
Consistency and repetition. Yep.
You look so beautiful. Your smile is so energetic. I can feel the energy.
Yeah, it's infectious.
And
All the things.
Did you ever carry the bad part along with you for a long period of time? How easy was that for you to just let it go and say, you know what, I deserve a lot more than this?
It wasn't easy for me to just let it go, but I figured if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do all this self-growth stuff. That couldn't go with me where I wanted to go. I couldn't keep hanging on to it because it couldn't go with me.
And so is the message to so many people that the longer that you want to stay in that victim mindset, that you are prolonging the time in which you're finally going to get yourself to that other side.
Yes, you have to let it go because you're giving your power away to them still.
Wow.
You know, forgive and move on. You don't want to take them into tomorrow with you. You want to leave them where they're at.
Wow, man. That's Coach Tiffany leaving those words. And look, she says it with such confidence. You want to leave them where they're at. Leave them where they're at.
I'm telling you, you do. There's a lot of good stuff on the other side of it.
Tiffany, how can the viewers reach out to you to know more about Coach Tiffany Strickland and the mindset change that you can help them to achieve?
Yep. So I'm on YouTube as well as Coach Tiffany Strickland. Also, I'm on TikTok as @transformation_coach. And then you can find me on my website, stan.store/Tiffany Strickland.
Sounds like a winner. And before we wrap up, congratulations to you for coming clean and keeping that beast mindset and saying for once and for all, you're going to take back control of your life. You're going to rewrite the narrative the way that it really happened. You got your family back. You got your house back. You just heard Coach Tiffany give you advice. Go take the letter and put it in the mailbox. You know, you don't have inspiration from the 4 guys and all the other people, man. You've been getting all kind of stuff today, man.
No.
If you ain't genetic hardwired yet, you got a problem.
Yeah, I know. Free therapy, but I'm telling you, priceless. Absolutely. This has been great.
Tiffany, I appreciate you taking time to come on the show. We definitely will have you come back, share some more great things that are happening to you, and I'm pretty sure are happening to people that come in contact with you. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you subscribe, click that button, share. Sometime when you touch a button, it can change the life of somebody else or even a life of your own. This has been another exciting episode of Take It Away,
Andre The Beast Crayton.
Show.